Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is our edition of ESF Alumni Spotlight. My name is Debbie Cavanis. I'm the Alumni Director here at SUNY ESF, and we are joined by one of our alums, Chelsea Andersson, who is an LA grad from the class of 14. Chelsea, thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for contacting me with your exciting news, too. So a little while ago, Chelsea contacted our office and let us know that she is going to be on season 3 of NBC's Making It. We're so excited for you. The first episode airs this Thursday, I think it's the 24th at 8 o'clock at night. So we'll all be excitedly watching for you as one of their contestants. And it's also free streaming live the next day on Peacock TV. So very excited that you let us know about this news and that we're able to share this information with the ESF community. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about, how you got involved with it, what your process is for doing your own crafting and how that relates to ESF and your landscape architecture degree. So I'm just going to jump right in. So how did you get involved with the show?
Yeah, well, I mean, for people who haven't seen this show, Making It is kind of the Great British Bake Off of the crafting world. It is a reality television show, but it is also not. Like it's positive, it's heartwarming, and I think the main difference between this and a lot of other reality television shows is that it's all about lifting people up and kind of celebrating crafting, celebrating what you're capable of, and kind of just pushing yourself to the limit in a very it is stressful because it's timed and everything, but it's also not because you're just there to create. And I think, I didn't grow up being like, yes, I want to be on reality television, but watching Making It and seeing all of these artists and makers just kind of stretch themselves to their limit and kind of learn about themselves in the process was just completely inspiring. And I would watch the show, from the first episode that I saw, I was like, this show is amazing. My favorite show on television. I was like, I wonder if I could do that. I don't know if I can do it, but part of me was just like, I need to try. So I applied for season 2 and unfortunately it wasn't selected and almost gave up. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try one more time. And luckily I did because season 3, here I come.
Oh, that's so exciting. I'm glad. The show is really interesting. And you're right, it is very uplifting. It's nice to see so many artists supporting each other too.
Definitely.
So how was it when you first walked down the set and you saw everybody?
Oh my gosh. I mean, the set, the show takes place in a crafting barn in Southern California, and it is just, wall to wall craft supplies. You have a big 4x8 workspace, and then outside we have a wood shop with tons of tools, and Jimmy DiResta, who is like a YouTube sensation with all of his crafting and woodworking. And just to kind of have those resources when I'm coming from this tiny 500 square foot apartment, it was just kind of mind blowing and so exciting because, I come from, coming from ESF, I'm always trying to be very cautious about the amount of materials I use and whatnot. And so just to kind of have all these resources at your fingertips it was literally a dream come true. I'm pretty sure I started crying the minute I walked into the barn. So it was a good feeling.
Very nice. So as you say, I know that you're done wrapping, and I know you can't talk about what happened during the season. You can't talk about that. But what about the overall experience of being on the show with your fellow contestants and being able to do what you love?
Yeah, I think the contestants and I kind of describe it as adult craft camp. There's very few opportunities in your life where you get to take a break from your day job and just spend every day playing and crafting. And that's literally that is a dream for most people. And, to share the space with Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman, who, most people know from Parks and Rec and SNL, it was just they were fun and warm and excited about what you were doing. And to just kind of share that space with so many amazing, like-minded people and just have all day to craft. It can't be beat. I'll never have that experience again, but I'm going to celebrate it for the rest of my life.
Well, that's good to hear. And you mentioned taking a break from your everyday work week and going off and being able to do what your passion on the side.
Yeah.
So how does your everyday work, so as an LA, as a landscape architect and as a crafter. And I know, can you talk a little bit about what your passion is specifically for crafting? I know you do specific things that are really interesting. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the specific thing you're referring to is that I'm primarily a miniaturist. And so I make custom miniatures for, stop motion campaigns and advertising, but I also make a line of DIY dollhouse kits, which I really love because it means people can kind of take it home and completely make it their own. And how that relates to landscape architecture is kind of a weird jump. But when I was studying, I've been in the field of landscape architecture for 7 years and a licensed landscape architect for about 4 years. And when I was at ESF, one of the main things that we did in the first couple of years was build site models. And, I had made miniatures when I was a kid, for my Barbies and for my dolls and my toys, but I had kind of taken a long break between that and when I got to college. And at ESF, when I was spending time making these site models, I was just like in love with the process and, making these tiny trees and making tiny, site furnishings. And it really kind of like when some of my classmates would groan and go, oh, another model, I was like, yes, another model. So I think that kind of really was the catalyst for what kind of got me back into miniatures as an adult. And at ESF was the first time I ever got to use a laser cutter, which is one of the machines that I think they didn't have in the LA lab when I was there, but is something that they have now, which is amazing. And that was one of those tools that, we had spent hours and hours hand cutting all these different pieces. And then our professor the next day took us to the laser cutter. And I was like, we could have done this in 5 minutes. It's just like, and it's, it's one of those tools. I'm looking at my own laser cutter right now. It's one of those tools that really like brought me forward into what I was capable of making, and has kind of become a tool that I use almost daily in making miniatures. And actually, I mean, I only just recently, like last week, left my full-time job as a landscape architect to pursue this creative endeavor full-time. So it is a bit of a jump, and I'm only a couple of days in. So we'll see how it goes. I always have landscape architecture to go back to as needed.
Well, we wish you well with that. I'm sure you will do fine. As long as it's so nice that you can pursue your passion, that you were able to take this time to do that. So that's really nice that you're able to.
Thank you.
I know one of the things that you mentioned kind of casually was having all of those materials available to you in the studio when you're used to being sustainable,
yes.
Especially from ESF. So talk about, I know there's some sustainability in some of the things that you're doing and the way that you're crafting.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, for anyone who has kind of got that sustainability mindset, the art world and the maker world in general, it kind of contradicts all of that sustainability, because you are making things, you're putting things out into the world, and that can be really difficult. And I think that was a source of almost guilt for me for a long time. But finding ways to make things, especially miniatures, because they don't require a lot of materials, they don't require a lot of like really big expensive machinery and tools. And I think that's kind of one of the beautiful things about it is I started making miniatures by using just whatever I had on hand. So a lot of upcycling, a lot of recycled materials. Bottle caps became pie tins, paper grocery bags became miniature paper grocery bags. And I think that there's just something really appealing about being able to use what you have on hand. And I think that's something that's great because it makes it accessible to anyone. For me now that, I have this business where I do make a product, which again, a sense of guilt there, but, it's really important for me to make everything here. So it's all made locally. My sources are FSC, and all the wood is harvested sustainably. So I think making those choices, that's kind of, it's important to me, and it's something that I wouldn't have done maybe if I didn't come from this background of ESF and focusing on the environment.
That's right. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Definitely.
And everything we do. Mm-hmm. So I know that, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I know that you said that you really concentrate on do-it-yourself, make it at home doll kits. So why that? And I love the fact that people can put it together as a family, and they can they design their own? Can they, what kind of things can they do with that kit?
Definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, the reason that I really wanted to make it, the thing I love about miniatures, I mean, well, first of all, they're adorable. So everyone has that in common. But I think there's something really appealing about the process of making them and having a way to customize them and make them your own. And, when I was at ESF, we had a 40-person LA program, and I think only 8 of us were women. And, encouraging women to build things and learn how to make things and get out there and kind of, be in construction is something that is really important to me. And I think, sometimes we write dollhouses off as like, oh, that's a girly thing. But if you're involved in the construction behind it and really just stretching your imagination, then that is something that's going to be a huge asset for you moving forward. And I think, giving this to young girls, to adult girls, men too, but they kind of have their foot in the door already. But there's just something about it where, you're able to kind of like stretch your imagination and paint it and bring in different decorations that you've made yourself that I hope is really inspiring to other people.
Well, I love that. We need more girls in the engineering STEM field. So any encouragement we can give them, I'd love to see that. So I think that's it for my questions for you. Is there anything else you'd like to share with everybody?
I don't think so. I just really hope that people watch. I think it's a feel-good show. I think a couple of my projects really touch on the ESF feelings. So hopefully people will look for those and get in touch if you want to learn more or, just make things with me. That'd be great.
Well, and you have an Instagram. I know that. I found that. That's a really neat one. So do you want to give everybody your Instagram?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. So my Instagram is Chelsea Makes and my personal website is chelseamakes.com. So it should be pretty easy to find. And I hope you'll give me a follow there as well.
Well, great. Thank you, Chelsea, for being with us today. I'm sure everybody will be watching for you. Again, it's this Thursday at 8 o'clock on NBC. So everybody tune in. You'll feel the love and support from your ESF family, I hope. And really, thank you again for being with us, and we wish you the best of luck.
Definitely. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody else, for joining us for this next edition of ESF Alumni Spotlight. Thank you.